And we are recording. And it's still just us. All right, we've got some guests trickling in. We are excited to be back with everyone for TipJar. Thanks for joining us today. We'll give just a couple minutes for a few more people to join. And all right, should be set now that attendees can chat with us. Feel free to send us any questions in the chat if you have questions during the webinar. Everyone will be keeping an eye on it, but I always love to interrupt Mike and try to throw him off his game when he's got a good flow going in these. So any help with that is always appreciated. Got a special guest today, Clint Eager. If you've been with OP for a while, you've probably met Clint. Clint is super helpful.
Once in a while.
No.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking that next Wednesday is 13 years. So I was here in the early startup days.
That's interesting. You've probably seen a lot. You've been
Things.
through it. Mike, how long have you been at ObservePoint?
Let's see here. I'll be 9 years in like a couple weeks.
Wow. So even if I'm OG on the marketing team, I'm still a spring chicken for you guys. Okay.
Really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've got a handful of people here. Let's go ahead and jump into our content. I know we have a lot to cover. Today we are talking about a handful of features that we know add a lot of value, but not all customers are using them, and some customers might not know about them. And so we wanted to cover just a few things that we believe add a ton of value to your ObservePoint experience. First of all, I'm Abby Pancoast. I'm a senior product marketing manager at ObservePoint. I've been here for coming up on a year, and we'll just do a quick recap of what we covered in the last tip jar. If you want to go to the next slide, Mike. Last episode was kind of a while ago. It was October. We haven't met in a while because of the holidays, but our last episode, we really targeted at our retail customers and e-com customers to make sure you guys were set up for success with a ton of increased traffic and activity on your pages. The tips that we shared in that tip jar are applicable to any company, but was specifically around how to handle Black Friday. So we recommend that you do audits and journeys automated so that you're getting alerts and things like that on any of your most high value pages or high trafficked pages. And if you'd like to learn more about that, we can reach out to me. I'll put my email address in the chat. Unfortunately, we forgot to hit record on that webinar. So if you reach out to me, we can send you the content from that episode. And from there, I will hand it over to Mike and Clint.
That was one of those occasions where I wasn't very helpful. I think I was supposed to press record that time.
Right, you'll be forgiven.
Yeah, and also just a quick shout to everybody listening in. The Q&A panel is available. If you do have any questions, please feel free to add some questions in.
Perfect. So let's jump into it. Happy holidays, everybody. It's kind of an exciting, crazy time of the year. So thanks for taking a few minutes to join us today. So we're going to cover kind of some features that we feel are really valuable, and a lot of them are pretty straightforward and easy to set up, and give you a different way to test your website or your web properties. So kind of a low effort, high value. Some of you are probably already using these, so good for you. If not, this is going to be a refresher or a net new concept for you. So, and two of the things on here are kind of brand newish. I would say in the last few months have been released by ObservePoint, and so they may be brand new to you as well. So first thing we're going to jump into is the concept of file substitution, or replacing libraries on your website, or perhaps even blocking things. And we made that a lot easier just recently, so I'll dive into that. And then Clint will be we'll be covering how to get some custom data into ObservePoint and how to validate that. And those are some of the things we're going to cover, some privacy policy, the forms, things like that. And then last, we're going to show you how ObservePoint can really help you automate and validate your website in two different states, whether it's accepting the preferences on your website or rejecting those. And it's just a click of a button that you can do that now with ObservePoint. So the first thing here is file substitution, now easy block. So they're very closely related, but one is a lot better at one thing than the other. So the first is file substitution. For longtime ObservePoint customers, they may have known this as remote file mapping. It got rebranded to file substitution a couple of years ago. But essentially, what this is used for is swapping a network request or swapping a JavaScript library loading your website. So a good example of this would be perhaps you want to test your staging code, like maybe you have a staging library for your analytics or for your tag manager that you can swap actually with your production version on your website and see, okay, how does this code actually look, or how does this measurement actually look on production? And so I'll walk through that here in just a second. And then the second one is a new tool came up with is the blocking technologies, or tags. Now you could do this before with file substitution, but you had to go upload a blank JavaScript file, and then the reporting was a little wonky because it still showed the request. So it wasn't ideal, but it was doable. We've made it now just a one-click kind of operation, and when you select the tag or tags, you can actually use all of our technologies in our tag library and block all of them. So I'll walk you through those now. So the first one here is file substitutions. And so I have an example here where I'm swapping the tag manager. And so to set this up in our configurations here, you'll see an option for file substitutions. And this is a library basically of your file substitutions. And once you create these can be leveraged both in audits and journeys. And you can just quickly, there'll be a drop-down available to you and you can select these. So the one I did was the swap TMS. And essentially what I'm doing here is I'm on the ObservePoint website. I am finding our production, our normal container for Google Tag Manager, and then I'm replacing it with a different version of our Google Tag Manager. So that's kind of the setup. Is you can find the URL, or you can use your regular expression as well, and then you can either put another URL in here or actually upload a file if you have an own kind of staging library that you want to upload. Once you do that, you'll come into your audit or journey. In this case, it's an audit. And let's go to the settings here. So if you go into it, first thing you'll see here that this is calling out it's an advanced audit. And we have used a file substitution configured. There's been some other things configured here as well, but this is how you can know, oh yeah, this is the file substitution one that I'm using. And then in setup, once we've set up our file substitution, you'll now have a dropdown available to you here. And you can then click and select one or multiple file substitutions. So in this case, I just did the swap TMS. You'll save your audit, run it. And then what you'll see here, when you look at any of the pages, you can see whether it was swapped or not. On the page details, you'll see, oh yeah, we found that one we were looking for, and we replaced it with this, and this is the request we actually matched. So fairly straightforward. And then on your tagging, you'll see whatever your expectation was as far as a different account to be loading, things like that. So that's file substitution. Like I said, the main use case really there is tasting different libraries on your production site. Clint's favorite use case is swapping out logos just for fun. So that's another use case you can use. Now, let me walk you through what we're calling easy block or blocking technologies. And so here's my use case here, blocking my tag management system. This is a really good use case that everyone should have set up. That way they can see what their exposure is and what is not necessarily loading through that tag management system. So as a best practice to govern your website, we recommend always kind of serving all of your technologies through there. There are some obviously that you can't do that, and best not to, but as a general guide. So this one's really, really easy to set up. So there's no library to go to. There's no having to know the certain network request or a JavaScript file. You just come into the ObservePoint setup for either an audit or a journey, and you'll see under additional options here is the ability to come in here and select tags or tag categories. So you can leverage the existing tag categories that ObservePoint offers. And for any of these, you can come in and say, actually, I want to block all of one category, right? And so one thing that I'd recommend here, especially with journeys, is coming here and just blocking all of your A/B testing tools. If you want a journey to break, a good way to have it broken is by serving different content each time that journey runs. And so by turning off your A/B testing tools, that can ensure a consistent process for the journey to always get the same experience to validate for you. Another good example here that I'm showing you is I actually went, instead of just blocking the tag manager I know I have, I just went and said, hey, block any tag manager from loading. And so you can select one in this case, or just select the all button, and then you're good to go. And so the results here, once you start blocking something, they will not show up in your results. So, if we go to our tag inventory report, these are basically showing me, hey, my OneTrust obviously is not loading to my tag manager, but everything else that you see here is loading outside that. So either that's good or bad, but it gives you that report of saying, hey, this is where I'm exposed. This is maybe I need to clean up some things. That's not what I was expecting. So definitely recommend everyone at least have an audit that is doing this at a regular occurrence. So those are the two tools there of testing your website in different ways, and fairly straightforward and easy to use, and provide a lot of value. So I'm going to pass it over to Clint here to talk about custom tags and console logs.
All right, thanks, Mike. That was great. Yeah, the easy block feature I think is really, really powerful, and like Mike mentioned, it's something that every single one of our customers should be using to see what's not in the control of your tag management system. All right, so those of you who were able to join us at Edge, you'll see that we're going to talk a lot about some of that same content. But what we're talking about here is how to get custom data or custom insights into ObservePoint. One of the more powerful parts of the ObservePoint crawler when we visit pages is that you can execute JavaScript, and then that JavaScript can be used to do all kinds of things. So really anything that you can do in your browser console right here. So if you had some JavaScript function that was collecting data or interacting with the page or doing all of the really doing anything within this console, you can execute those same JavaScript commands within the ObservePoint scan. And so some key things that you could look for is some of the more technical aspects of SEO, things like, are there images missing alt text? Is my title tag present? Do I have any broken links? Are there keywords that I need to look for? Maybe we had a branding change and there's a phrase or an expression or even some branding words. An example here at ObservePoint, about 3 years ago, we acquired a company called Strala. And we had a lot of content on our site that was calling out the name Strala. Well, we decided to sunset that brand term and just use some of the technologies. And so we wanted to make sure that word was removed from the website, so we can do a keyword search across all the pages that we scan and find pages that may still have that word on them. And then some other ones that are super critical for nearly every company is my CMP banner on every page. Now you can do that with the normal crawl. We have most of those CMP technologies listed as tags, but if you wanted to do an actual check, does the banner actually appear? Does the code that's in the DOM load and actually, like, is that banner visible? So you can do a check once again in the console to make sure that the banner is loading. And then another one that we get asked a lot about are show me the pages that have forms on them, or show me the pages that have links to PDFs. And so I'll just show you a couple of examples of those and how those would be set up. So first
Hey,
and
Clint,
first,
Clint, we just got a good question.
oh,
Can you scan to identify all missing product images?
missing product. So if I were to go to a product page, let's use this site, for example, and if I come here, just so I understand the question correctly, and if I come to a site like this, and if this image were missing or broken, is that what we want to know?
Yep, sounds like it.
Yeah, so yes. So what you would essentially do is you could have a JavaScript that would check on given pages. So you could actually say in my audit, set it up to only audit product pages. And then you could execute some JavaScript that says, let me know if the image link is broken. Or you could even have it look inside a div to see if that div has an image tag in it. So yes. Now, here's a super powerful cheat for setting these up in ObservePoint. There's a tool, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called ChatGPT. That's a joke. You've all heard of it. It's super good at writing these JavaScripts. So you could essentially say, I need a JavaScript that can be executed in Chrome developer tools. Developer tools that will check to see if the page has any broken images. Output results to a console message as a pass fail. And let's see what it does here. I have not actually had it asked it to do this specific example, but we'll see. So you'll see here that it's really quick, and it's uncannily really good at this. So one thing that is nice whenever you're trying to do some of the custom data point is you don't need to know JavaScript, but being able to read it, like I can't write this JavaScript, but I can understand it. And so just in the world we live in, working with AIs, working on the web, right? Having a rudimentary understanding of how JavaScript works is well worth your time. There's lots of courses on the internet, lots of videos on YouTube about how JavaScript thinks. And so here we can see that it's that it is saying, hey, find all the images using document.query selector, look for all the images on the site, and then trying to see here how it's checking to see if it actually had an error. Oh, image. But there must be a built-in JavaScript function. It looks like there might be a built-in JavaScript function. I didn't know that. So let's just see if it works. So I'm just going to copy that code. We're going to come over here to our example site. All right. And I'm just going to paste that in console and press enter. And so it's here. It's going to go through and look, it found one that it says didn't load successfully. Now that's not your product image, but you could have ChatGPT refine this. And you could even say the image has to be inside a div, like my main product image div. The image has to be inside this, and you can actually tell ChatGPT what that would look like, and it'll add that to your script. So let's see here. So most images appear to load correctly. So yeah, so you can see there with just a little bit of refinement, this will take a little bit of refinement, but I bet you if we focused on this for the next 10 to 15 minutes, we could come up with a JavaScript that we could execute inside the ObservePoint scan that would let you know if there's any broken product images. So great, a great question. Hope I answered it satisfactorily. If not, feel free to ask a follow-up question. We'll jump right back into it. Okay, so we were going to look to see just a couple of things here, looking at some technical SEO. So here I've set up just a simple SEO audit on our site again. I'll first show you the actual execute statement. So this is happening inside an audit or inside a journey, and I'm just going to execute on-page actions. I'd also recommend setting these up as action sets, so they're now reusable components across all of your ObservePoint. So here's the JavaScript. This JavaScript is the most complete that I built. I went through a lot of iterations. Maybe took about an hour to go through this. And these are all also available. All of these JavaScripts that I'm showing you are available in the ObservePoint community Slack. There's a channel in there where all of these are posted as code that you can just copy and paste. And we're also adding them to our help site as well. So yeah, see here, we're looking for image alts. We're looking for pages missing H1s, or pages that don't have a meta description. I'm also saying, are there less than 500 words on the page? Is my title tag too long or too short so that Google doesn't truncate it? And so then we just execute that as we run the audit. And then all of these are getting output to browser console logs. So I can very quickly come here, and I'm just going to search my console logs for fail, because I had it, if you noticed in that JavaScript that I told it to put the word fail at the beginning if anything failed. And so this will show me all my SEO fails. I could even filter by SEO fail. So here's some pages or some images, and actually 29 pages had this image that doesn't have an alt or doesn't have any alt text. There'll be some other ones here. Here's a page missing a meta description. Here's a page where the page title, or actually 5 pages, I should say, 5 pages where the page title is longer than 70 characters. So that means Google truncates it when they show it in search results. So just very, very, very quickly, we can get some of the answers to our technical SEO while we're doing all the other wonderful stuff that ObservePoint does. Validating tags, validating privacy states, all the other things that we do. This is stuff that we can do on top of it simultaneously as we're running all your other scans. And then what's really nice with our new alert system, you can very easily set an alert. Let's say I only wanted an alert if my message is for title tags. So I can add that to my message here, and then I can set an alert on this widget very, very quickly and say, if my browser console logs is ever greater, or for this message is ever greater than 0, send me an alert. And I can add a whole bunch of different alerts. Like, let's say my meta description alert, I can have a couple that fail, not a big deal. I don't want to have any title tags that are longer than 70 characters, and I don't want any images missing alts. But let's say I'm okay with a few meta tags, and so I could set different thresholds. And then when the audit completes, we'll send you one email with a list of all of the things that happened, so that you can then take action. All right, that's that example. Just a couple other quick examples, just to kind of get your brain thinking about things here. That example where I said, hey, we maybe change some branding on our site, and we need to look for some phrases. Let me get rid of that filter there, and you'll see right down here, right here. So just as an example, maybe we want to get rid of this phrase on our marketing site that says validate your privacy. Maybe nobody knows what that means, and we found that it's just not a good phrase, and so we want to replace it. So where is that on our marketing site? Well, there are 2 pages that have that phrase, validate your privacy. So I can quickly see, and in this case, they're actually both on the homepage. We're just linking to it differently. One redirects probably. If I add initial URL here, we'll see, yeah, one is redirecting. So actually just one instance of it. And so there's an example of finding keywords. You could also say, hey, if there's this image, that Astrala example that I found, we could actually say, look for this image file across the whole site as well, and let me know pages that have that file. And then one more example before I hand it back to Mike here, this is just pages with forms. And I also had ChatGPT write up, let me know if these form fields have any potential for PII. So if I open this here, here are the field names that I said. And in this example, I actually didn't say like full name, first name, last name, email, phone, address. I said use common form fields that might contain PII, and it put these values in automatically. That's the power of ChatGPT in this example. It created this list of things. Now I could add some others, like if there are other things, like if there's a field called social security number, right? I could add that, and it'll look for that field as part of the form input. It could be the form name, it could be the form placeholder text, it could be the form value, it could all those things. If it has anything with SSN in it, or address, or phone, or email, it's going to flag that as potential. And then in my testing, one of the other things that's really powerful about ChatGPT in this case was there's a lot of forms in iframes. You notice when Mike was showing that we have Marketo on our site, right? Most of the forms that we have on our site are run through Marketo, and those are in a little iframe. And so most JavaScript can't directly interact with an iframe unless you tell it to. And so I told ChatGPT, I said, hey, that's a great JavaScript, but I need to also look in iframes to see if there's forms in iframes. And so it added all this business here. Don't know what's going on with all this, but it appears to work. And so as we look at those examples here, we will see here's a bunch of form fields. So on 11 pages of our site, there's a form that has a first name field and a last name field and a business email. So 12 different pages on our site, free trial, contact us, feature requests, pricing, all these pages that have lead capture forms, like all of our sites do. It's asking for business email, right? But that is a PII potential field, right? And so what I've asked the execute to do is just identify those. And so a lot of power there. And so let's see, was there anything else, Mike, I needed to cover? I think I kind of just skipped over all the slides. Just go through these while we're here. See how are we doing on time check?
You got a couple minutes.
Okay. So one more example that's really, really important. This is the one. This is the one that I called out where we want to make sure that my banner loads. So we're using OneTrust on our marketing site, and so I actually told ChatGPT I need to know when this div appears, if that div is present on the site, and then let me know if it's there or not. And then also look for my privacy policy link and make sure that it's actually a hyperlink that I can click on. So we'll see here, once again, down to browser console logs. And I always set this up for like pass fail as well, just so that it's really easy to know. These are all my privacy passes. Here's all the pages that had a privacy policy link. Here's the pages that had it. And then there's a few down here, privacy fail, CMP banner missing on 41 pages. Now you're going to see here that most of these are our API documentation. And so should it be there? Right, it should be there. But it's pretty obvious the reason it's not there. It's just developer focused content that's some of our API documentation. So news alert, we don't have our CMP on our API docs, so we should probably get it added, right? So just some very, very quick. And now once again, the power here is this is a critical alert for our business. Say I can come up here to filters, add that in. It says just filter this list by privacy fail, CMP banner missing. Oops, I clicked it on accident. Quickly set an alert. I have zero tolerance for any page not having the CMP banner. So I can just say, if I have a browser console log, any browser console log that has this message, privacy fail, CMP banner missing, send me an alert. So as soon as the audit is complete, you'll get an alert that says these pages are missing your banner. So you can take some immediate action to get that remedied. With that, I'll turn it back to Mike, because the last thing he has to talk about, I really, really wanted everybody to hear.
Awesome. Thanks, Clint. The super fun stuff there. Represented some of this stuff at our Edge conference and had a lot of fun with it, and really opened our eyes even to some power we couldn't do before without ChatGPT and things. So thanks for sharing. If you have any questions on those, we can always meet later after, or our support team can help out with any of those use cases as well. So definitely take advantage of those. All right, the last thing we'll talk about, and then we'll jump into some Q&A and things like that, but is this new product that we launched, I guess, I don't know, midsummer. I don't even know now. This year's just gone by so fast, but is this concept of being able to automatically have ObservePoint interact with your consent management platform, and either put you in the accept all state or the reject all state. So either accepting all the cookies and things that come with that, or rejecting those. You can still, with our other tools in ObservePoint, which is some actions, get yourself into the other states of only necessary or functional, whatever, things like that. But this, this covers most of the use cases that everyone should be doing with these two states. And so this is just 2 new audits that you can set up. This also works in journeys as well. And it's just a click of a button. And then just here's a list of providers. So whether it's OneTrust, TrustArc, this is a growing list. So if you don't see your provider here, you can shoot us over the documentation or the technology you're looking for, and we can get that added. So let's walk you through this of how it works. So any audit will work, or any journey will work. So let's pick one of these here. We'll go into edit. You'll see an option here under additional settings. We have this privacy section where you can send the GPC signal, or there's this option here to accept or reject all. So once I do this, it's going to add an action as a pre-audit action, because we want to interact with the state before the audit starts. So the engine that is running through your website knows what state to be in. So we'll click add this action. It's going to add a new action here of consent management state for accept all, reject all. What it's going to ask you for is, well, where should I go to find this banner or this pop-up that ObservePoint needs to interact with? In this case, we'll just go to our homepage here, and then you simply just select reject all or accept all, and you're good to go. You do have an optional state here, not required, but essentially, let's say ObservePoint cannot find your CMP or something. You can have ObservePoint just stop the run and not proceed. That way it's like, hey, don't even audit. If you cannot find it and get me into the right state, I don't want you to proceed. So maybe you just need to update the site we went to, things like that. Or you can just say, hey, it's not going to be on every page I asked you to go to, or things like that. So just go ahead and proceed to the next action. So that's the setup. Once you go from there, it's pretty straightforward. You'll just save and run your audit. You will get a notification in the info panel here of whether a CMP is being interacted with here. If it fails, you will also get a different state here, depending on whether you ask us to stop for it or not. If you ask us to stop it, this banner here will be nice, big and red, saying, hey, we've stopped the run because we couldn't find the CMP. Or if you ask us to skip it, if we couldn't find it, then it may be orange, saying, hey, we just couldn't perform this action, and here's the page we couldn't perform it on. So pretty straightforward to set up. Once again, it's just, you probably have 2 different audits set up for this, and then times that by how many different domains or websites you want to test. And you can get those 2 different states tested really, really easy for those 8 or 9 technologies we provide. So can we just, once again, I'll just kind of repeat, it's found under the additional settings. You come in here and click your CMP state, add the URL where we're going to go and find this thing to interact with, and then it's either rejected or accepted, and you're good to go. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but once again, one of those low effort things, but astronomical value, right? As far as being able to have this tool set in your bag of tricks to validate your website. So that's it from a perspective of kind of the things we wanted to cover today. There's a lot of good meat and potatoes and some good dessert here that was offered. And so all of these things are available to everybody. These aren't you don't have to have some sort of license to get any access to any of these things. So please take advantage of them. And we're happy to help, whether it's me, Clint, or any of your support reps that get you help set up on these. So make sure you take advantage of those. And then just as a reminder, we do have a ObservePoint community Slack channel where we post a lot of the product releases. You can get quick feedback on different questions, like things that we brought up today. So if you're not a member there, please join. And then if you need help on any of this stuff, you can always reach out to support@observepoint.com. And lastly, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have not seen in our platform, we have a feedback portal. You can give feedback to us directly in the Slack channel as well, but also if you want to kind of get a sneak peek of what we're thinking about building or what we're building, it can all be found in this feedback portal, and you can also vote on things that are listed here, as well as submit new ideas. And we read and actually attribute all these things to specific items in our roadmap, and so your voice truly does matter. Things that get screamed at the most, we build. So we don't necessarily have our own agenda of what we want to build. We build what our customers want, and so we'd love to hear from you. So please take a look at this if you've not seen it before. All right. Any questions? I know that was kind of a lot of information. I know we had some during the session, so we'll just open up for a minute or so here if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Abby, did we have any questions come through the chat during that session, or did we get them all addressed?
Nope, the ones that came through were what I interrupted Clint with.
Okay.
So seems that we might be good. You all should get an automated email from Zoom that has the recording for this episode. If not, feel free to reach out to me, or if you have any other questions, you know, product specific, whatever, you can reach out to me as well, and I'll connect you with the right person at ObservePoint to help you. I shared a lot of links in the chat, so hopefully you've kept track of those.
Well, thanks
everyone. All right, everyone.
We'll see you next year.
Thanks, you all.
Everybody.
Have a good holiday. Bye.